What's up, everybody? This is A7X Ben, and today we're unboxing Pirates Rise of Atlantis. So this is a new mega pack based on a fantasy custom set. A huge thank you to Vindaga Games for partnering with me on this collaboration. So he actually had most of the stats and some of the artwork designed already, and we were able to get in touch and figure out the rest of it. And I did all the production and whatnot and some of the file editing. So without further ado, got this nice little box here. And also thank you to MFakes for the graphic design. So really nice flag. And I really like the logo with like the pirate skull, but then the trident through it really fits the theme well. So I was really happy to pick up these boxes. They're pretty much a perfect size for these cards. So I'm looking forward to using them going forward with more releases and whatnot. So we open up, we've got our insert here. So Pirates Rise of Atlantis, designed by Vindaga Games, produced by yours truly, made in the US, and lots of other things on here. I'm not going to spoil all of it. I'll let you read this if you buy it. This is available right now on piratesofben.com at the store. And then on the back, we've conveniently got these nice assembly diagrams for each of the 4 new ship types, and along with the keywords for them, which we'll check out soon as we go through it. So got the cards, they fit perfectly into this nice little box. And we'll start with the first one, Trojan. So this one is kind of the flagship, being the most expensive and also the largest ship in the set. All of these are new ship types, so lots of brand new stuff, novelty in this mega pack. So this is a Grand Zebek, and it also has the secret hold keyword and another ability that we saw on a Kualapu originally. Crew assigned to the ship don't take up cargo space. The ship can be assigned a maximum of 3 crew. So that ability, she almost turns into like an automatic hybrid, because the 3 crew won't take up space. Then she'll still have cargo spaces open for gold. She's got solid speed, solid cannons, and a really fun artwork design, kind of reminiscent of ancient times. So really fun ship type, really cool design from Vindaga, and some cool artwork. And I like the Atlantean flag as well. And I really love how the parchment, the yellowish parchment mode, goes really well with this bluish green teal color of the card background for Rise of Atlantis. So, and for these, the collector's numbers are based on the full Rise of Atlantis set, which you can see at psmlist.com. And big thanks to Arshalin for maintaining that great website and database. So we'll check out the Grand Zebek keyword here. I've seen it said mostly Grand Zebek online, or Zebek. I've also seen Zebek, so I was trying to look up a pronunciation but couldn't find something super definitive, at least not yet. So, but the keyword talks about the ship's masts do not block her lines of fire. This ship cannot pin or be pinned. This ship may be given move actions when she has no masts. Her pinned base move becomes S. And then the real new part is at the bottom. So this ship's rearmost mast requires 2 hits from the same shoot action to eliminate, and can shoot twice when the ship shoots. So a little extra defense and offense, but only for that fortified deck at the stern is what it is. If the ship is hit once during a shoot action, her owner must eliminate one of the first 3 masts if able. So that one was added. We asked Wolf about the keyword a few months ago, and he mentioned including that to make sure, since this is the only mast, the rearmost mast is the only one that requires 2 hits from the same shoot action. If you don't add that clause there, the owner could be like, oh, there's only 1 hit, and if I choose to absorb that with the last one and then not take any damage, even though they have other masts. So we made sure to include that, so it doesn't become kind of a little bit overpowered, arguably, in that case. So anyway, so the rearmost mast is like the fortified deck at the stern, which would be this 3L on Trojan, and it fits near this area there where you see almost like a castle rampart type thing, kind of reminiscent of some of the 1500s and early 1600s ship designs when they had the really high after castles. So that's Trojan, and one of my favorite custom ships in recent times. I think pretty cool design and keyword and execution. So now we'll get into the caravels. So the second ship in the mega pack is Manticore. This is a 3-masted caravel, comes on 2 cards, and this one has the caravel keyword, of course, which we'll check out right now. The ship's masts do not block her lines of fire. The ship cannot be pinned. When given a move action, the ship can rotate on her stern, the rear of the ship, in any direction as an additional final movement segment. So kind of 3 abilities in one, all of which we've seen before. All of them pretty cheap abilities overall, but definitely improve the ship's maneuverability and overall striking range with, because these masts they're slanted quite a bit towards the starboard bow. So if you didn't have that mast don't block lines of fire, the port broadside would be more frustrating and pretty annoying to try to fire. So especially with how big the first mast is. So Manicore has cannons of 3L, 1L, and 3L. So quite good overall firepower and an offensive ability once per turn when the ship hits an enemy ship. Also eliminate 1 cargo from that ship. So that's a mix of abilities that we've seen in the past. So normally when you've seen that in the past, it's usually cargo wrecking where it takes out a cargo on every hit. But this is a combination of that mixed with the crew killing ability, which says once per turn, eliminate 1 crew. So it's kind of in between both. So it's not as devastating as cargo wrecking, but it's still more devastating than crew killing because it doesn't specify that it has to be crew. So you could take out like a coin or equipment with it. So, and all that offense is kind of summed up with some of the flavor text. They plunder, sack, and commandeer ships, albeit recklessly and with little heed of preserving their quarries in the best of conditions. So just a little snippet of Manicore. I'm not going to show all of it for all the ships. Let you check out the pack for yourself, hopefully. So next one, we've got Pegasus. So this is another Caravel. So it still has that keyword with those abilities associated with it. And this one also has the ability of once per turn, if the ship carries treasure and is within S of a wild island or enemy home island, you may randomly trade 1 treasure with that island. So it probably sounds familiar. You may have seen something like this with the treasure trading within S ability, so which I call ship treasure trading as kind of like a shorthand of that ability. So we were thinking about something similar to that, and we wanted to differentiate the ship from Draconium, the next ship. And I thought of the idea of uh, island treasure trading, but not in the conventional sense where you can trade from a wild island to another via exploring, which is what we've seen in the past. But this one is within S, and it includes enemy home islands. So it's a pretty interesting it's a short range ability, but could be pretty interesting if used correctly, especially in conjunction with spires that can look at face down treasure on islands or ships. And just in general, if you have a good idea of what's in the treasure distribution, you might be able to use this to your advantage pretty well. Maybe go up to an enemy home island when it's deserted and trade like a 1 or a 0 for like a 6 or a 7 perhaps to get a huge treasure swing going. So of course it'd be hard to pull off. So it's still not an amazing ability, which is why the ship is still pretty affordable for everything she gives you, which is of course a lot of speed, decent cargo. Cannons are kind of middling, but it's not supposed to be a huge offensive threat, unlike Manicore. So I really like the artwork that Vendaga did for this one as well, which you may have seen in my video about how to build a 2-masted caravel. So that's Pegasus. I'll make sure to link to that shipbuilding instructions playlist as well. So Draconium is the final ship in the mega pack. So this is yet another brand new ship type. This one's a dragon wing cutter. So really unique ship design where it has these 2 unique masts, and the sails they come off at a diagonal angle pointing towards the bow basically. So it looks really unique. And this one has another new keyword. So Dragon Wing Cutter says the ship gets plus S to her base move if she has all of her mass. When given a move action, the ship can rotate on her stern, the rear of the ship in any direction as additional final movement segment. So just like Caravel, they have that stern turn ability. So with all mass, this one would start out at SLS, unless she has a helmsman, which could be SLSS. So pretty massive max speed here, but it is a pretty fragile ship, and it's also got another ability. So after looking at treasure on a wild island, you may trade any 1 treasure from that island for random treasure on any other wild island. The ship must load the traded treasure. So that's the island treasure trading ability, as I call it, that I think was originally on Pegasus, and then we wanted to differentiate the ships so that they're not, they don't have. I didn't really want to have ships in the mega pack with the exact same abilities. So Draconium, a speedy Gold Runner, most likely, But she also has 3S cannons, which are usable. And she doesn't have a ton of cargo, but she has enough. So should be a pretty fun, interesting ship. Maybe a little bit of a hybrid at times, almost like a treasure exploratory raiding hybrid type thing. So some pretty fun stuff going on Draconium. We really wanted to make this mega pack fun to use, so hopefully all the ships and crew are pretty fun to use and experiment with. So because in these small releases you can't really afford to have like pack filler and like stuff that's not fun, so we try to make sure things are costed appropriately and also like really fun to use. So, and of course this is a brand new faction, the Atlantean faction, which you can see the flag there, really nice flag designed by Vindaka Games. So since they're a new faction and these are their right now they're only produced pieces, they're out in the world being used, so you got to make sure they, of course they're not going to be able to stand up to like the pirates or anything like all of a sudden with just like 8 game pieces, but you want to get them on the right foot, get them off to a good start. So, and on that note, we've got Reef Trident. So this is the first named crew. So captain, and then he's got the ignored terrain ability as well, which I know originally was costed at 3 points. From a ton of gameplay, myself and many other players have deduced that it's definitely not worth 3 points. You can make an argument for 2 or 1 point, but again, we wanted this faction to get off to a good start. So, and oftentimes I would say that's only 1 point ability. So maybe 2 depending on the setup if there's a ton of terrain, but I think 1 works too usually most of the time. So, and then we've got on the back of this card, so we did crew for twofers to maximize how many crew we could fit in the mega pack, because we knew it was going to be 10 cards, and we wanted to just have more crew, because 2 named crew for a brand new faction feels kind of weak. So we wanted to make sure we did crew for twofers, and that way we got 4 crew onto 2 cards at the back of this mega pack. So Trench Maiden, Helmsman, and the ship can shoot at submerged ships within L of her. So that's a little bit of an upgrade over, normally it's within S, which you may have seen from the Mysterious Islands set, for example, like Pierre Aronnax and some other crew. So this one is kind of an interesting crew. It might be one of the harder ones to use in the set, but still probably pretty usable depending on what your opponent's using, of course. You'd kind of want to know in advance if they're going to use submarines or sea creatures. But but with Helmsman, she could maybe be like a decent crew to be on a hybrid ship. And that ability, the one with NS is normally priced at 5, but I feel like it's worth like 2 or 3 probably. So we priced this version with the extended range of L instead of S at 4 points. So trying to kind of correct for some past overcosting mistakes made in the original game. So next one, we got the final card in the mega pack. So Icarus's Hand. So this one has the S board ability, which is that top ability. And then also, when the ship succeeds at a boarding party, you may eliminate a crew and take a treasure. So normally S board by itself is 5, but that's kind of more than it's worth, I think. So I feel like S board is worth about 3 points in game. So kind of did 3 for this first ability and then 2 points for the second. So, and they have nice synergy, obviously. They're both boarding abilities. So a decent boarding crew. And on the back, we've got Ajax of the Iron Will. This is actually probably my favorite named crew in the mega pack. So he's got captain, and when the ship hits an enemy ship, you choose which mast is eliminated, and other ships do not block the ship's line of fire, which I'm aware that is on some of the most of the keywords for the ships, but that's all right. Especially if more Rise of Atlantis gets produced, hopefully in time, then it'll become less redundant. And also, we costed those abilities at only 1 point each. That and you choose the mast, which is slightly aggressive costing. Maybe you choose the mast. I think that was priced at 2 originally, but that is also another ability that could probably be 1 point instead of 2. So overall, you get a nice offensive package with Ajax and also some nice artwork, also reminiscent of kind of some potentially Roman times or things like that, stuff from even before the Age of Sail. So Ajax of the Iron Will and Icarus's Hand, the last card in the Rise of Atlantis mega pack. So hopefully this piques your interest. You can check it out at the store at pirateswithben.com. I'll make sure to include a link in the description and the comments. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being a fan of Pirates. Hopefully I'll see you on board for some games. Beyond that, have fun playing.